Out. Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes. So let's see.
Prove it.
Well, I don't know whether or not we got an audience or if the four people it's saying are watching are just us.
Oh, one can't be me because I just came in.
Yeah,
No,
well,
okay.
Okay, and you coming in brought the watching down to only one.
Okay.
Yeah, that count on YouTube is pretty flaky. There was one stream I was in one night that I was having a conversation in the side chat with two other people, and it said there was only one watching. Anyway, so today is supposed to be Skeptics Day. I'm not
doubt
certain
that.
about that claim.
Yeah, I don't believe you. Now what do you do?
Well,
No.
somebody's got to do some research and find evidence.
You sound like a flat earther.
Well, I'm busy pulling everybody's links for the description at the moment, so.
Well, we do know to do our own research.
I'm busy mining for drugs.
Athena Porpoise, feline software engineer.
Yeah,
you are exactly.
I was considering setting Sammy up with his own Twitter account under the handle of Handsome Kitty.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. It's, I'd get bored with it too often, and I'd probably go weeks at a time without posting anything to it.
You know, it's amazing how much Jenny's avatar looks like a tortoiseshell cat.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I even think it's purring.
I got a name you could suggest. I can suggest. Guinea pigs are tasty.
Well, yeah, Americans don't seem that way, but that is why they were called guinea pigs in the first place. In Peru, they were a common food source.
They still are.
Yeah, they are.
Yep.
As is the capybara.
Of course, now you can get in all sorts of different colors and textures.
Yeah, well, that's been the bizarre captive breeding programs.
I used to breed them.
Really? Was it painful?
No.
To the guinea pig it was.
No, not really. Have things set up with the pet shop.
Oh, accomplices.
Oh, hey, Lisa.
What's an EC?
YEC, Young Earth Creationist. She just missed a letter.
Well, to that I would agree. Let's see.
She seems to be having a problem with the letter Y on the keyboard, I guess.
Tell me if you recall that terrible dad joke I told.
I'm seeing her playing with one of my new toys.
Of course,
Which
you're
terrible dad joke?
Dad joke. Yes, you need to be more specific.
I think it was something along the lines, as a substitute teacher, I love covering for math teachers. They always leave me cool puzzles to do that ask me to find their ex, but I always wonder why.
Yep.
Because they don't want their ex to see who they're dating now.
See, your kitty just crawled over your shoulder and disappeared into the porpoise.
Yeah, I've been meaning to take that down, but it also hides stuff in the background, so...
Yep.
Like, no one needs to see that my bathroom door is open or closed.
It's okay. We can look at your bathroom as long as you flush. It's okay.
You can actually see in it. You can just see that it's open or closed.
A sloth girl groaned about a dad joke that I swear she was the one who told it to me, but she doesn't remember it. I don't understand why Disney hasn't put advertising on the Incredible Hulk. He's really just a giant banner.
I've heard that one before.
I wish I hadn't heard it at all.
Okay, that's the type of joke that needs to be shared.
Okay, I got my drugs
Oh,
all
hold on.
here.
Let me mute myself so I don't clicky-clack the keyboard.
Yeah, I gotta set up my meds for the week before I go to bed.
Do you think YouTube get upset if we take drugs on the air?
If you're an avatar, it's okay.
As long as we don't see it.
Sammy caught a fly tonight. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah.
I guess he only stunned it because he knocked it down and it was crawling on the chair and he poked at it about 3 times and then it flew away.
This little thing I got is a combination flashlight, radio, and charger.
What, USB to charge your cell phone?
Yeah.
What is it, like a hand crank or?
Yeah, it's got a hand crank on it. It's got solar on it, and you can actually plug it in to charge it too. It has a radio on it for the weather band.
10 to 15 knots.
Yep.
Seas around 2 feet.
Yeah, I've got a radio that I can use my power tool batteries in, and it's got a USB port on it, so I can charge the cell phones off of that in a power outage.
A hand crank, which you heard before the show started. Pretty neat. My friend is being practical with the gifts this time around, so they got me that, and along with a couple other things that, in case the power goes out again.
Cool. I want to find another hand crank flashlight to keep in my car. Because in the winters up here, a regular battery flashlight is usually useless when you need it. Because if it's below 0, the batteries are too cold to actually give you any light.
This is what's this thing called? Multi-purpose crank radio.
So it can be a radio or what else? Anything
Radio, flashlight, and a charger for a cell phone.
Oh, that's not very interesting. Porpoise, we can't hear you. You're muted.
My light's coming from the wrong angle.
And this is a.
There you go. Now you fixed your lighting.
This thing is a Running Snail product. This is a name brand. That may be something to look into if you're looking for a hand crank flashlight.
Yep. Yeah, I used to have a couple of them. I don't know. They all just kind of wandered off through the years, and I don't have one around anymore.
And by the looks of the design, it looks like it might be water resistant as well.
Yeah. I had a real nice hand crank flashlight that, you cranked it for about a minute, and it stayed lit for about 20 minutes.
Athena, get away from there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, back. Excuse me.
Athena, what toys do you need? Where is your toy? Go get me your toy. Go get me your favorite toy.
Yeah, Sammy's kind of wound down a bit now.
Your favorite toy is not my left hand.
Yes, it is. You're her favorite toy. I mean, isn't that bloody obvious?
Well, how do I know? Maybe it is her favorite toy.
I'm sure it is.
What?
My friend is also pet sitting for her brother's dog, so I got to meet a very sweet little dog.
Athena, you know how this works. The blinds stay down during the night.
Yeah, I hardly ever open the blinds, so I made a compromise with Sammy. That I built a set of shelves that extend the living room windowsill out to a foot, and I put a shelf above the window as well, so that the curtains hang out in front of the shelves. So even when I've got the curtains closed, he can jump up there and have his place in the sun while I stay and fester in the darkness like I usually do.
Well, she might be a little confused because the sunrise is so late here because we're so close to the time zone border.
Yeah.
When I'm leaving at like 7 o'clock in the morning, it's still dark out for like a couple minutes.
Yeah, same here. Perp and I are
Yeah.
on the western end of the central.
Yeah, I hate it when the days start getting so short.
Western end of Eastern here, but we really shouldn't be in Eastern.
It was confusing when I was living up in Michigan. Because most of the state of Michigan has decided that they don't change the clocks anymore. They stay on the same time year round. Except for the 5 counties that border Wisconsin. So for 6 months out of the year, we were on a different time zone than the rest of the state, which meant when I drove to the hospital, which happened to be across the county line, I had to allow an extra hour to get to my appointment.
Athena.
Yeah, nothing confusing there.
I realize you were adorable, but please get off the laptop keyboard. And I realize I've been gone for like hours at a time all day.
Well, how dare you?
Listen, if she wants cat food, she has to put up with me leaving the house.
You can't just magically refill the container? Isn't that how humans are supposed to do it?
Give me a second. Okay, Athena, if you really want to look out the window, even though it's dark, there you go.
My bird was being a little brat today as well, so.
Oh, what was your bird doing?
I decided to have a little screaming session.
Yeah, I like birds, but the main problem is that kind of thing, the screaming, just all the high-pitched noises don't go well for me.
That's why semi-soundproof the room I put them in.
Yep. That, and I don't know, I just have a problem with any animal that has to be kept in a cage. I mean, I feel bad about the cats being locked in the apartment all the time, that they can't go outside.
It's not too bad for the sun conure. They tend to like a bit of a cramped space. But when I let him out, he bounce around the room.
Yeah. You know, that's kind of a good point. Maybe I should just only have pets that their natural environment is living in a cave. You know,
And
I'm
what-
kind of allergic to sunlight.
So you need to get a bat.
Yeah, that could
Can
be
you ha-
interesting. Just get a cute little fruit bat.
Can you have a pet bat?
I don't think so
Athena,
in most
no.
cases. I think they require a special license, and some places it's just outright illegal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look how they, how they're classified in each state, I suppose, could vary, whether they
Yeah.
consider them to be exotic pets or whatever.
I've been thinking about getting Athena a harness and just seeing if she'd go out that way, but I can't get collars on Athena, so I doubt she'll put up with that.
Yeah, I tried that with Sammy. And what happens is I put the harness and leash on him, and as soon as we get out in the hallway, he just freezes like a statue with all of his claws dug into the carpet, so he's immobile.
Yeah, but I don't live in an apartment building like that, so...
Yeah, but it's just kind of weird that, he just absolutely freezes in place like that. Can't move him. Petunia almost every day wants to, bugs me that she wants to go out. It's like, as I'm leaving Sloth Girl's apartment, I let her walk out with me.
No.
And as soon as she hears the door latch, she wants to run back inside. So she's more worried about being locked out than being locked in.
You need to stop playing with the blinds, Athena. Come on down.
Well, cats are in superposition of being both on the right side of the door and the wrong side of the door.
Really? Get down.
Bag. Where are we?
Oh, let's see. How many tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Do we have anyone else in the chat?
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Hey! Only 20 pills to take tonight.
Only
I actually
20?
I've actually tried to get my number of the pepper pills I've had to take down over the years, so...
I have not tried to count mine lately.
Athena.
I guess it's around a dozen pills, but it's actually only like 8 different drugs.
Athena. Athena, down.
Just some of them I have to take 2 or 3 a day.
I think I take 9 pills a day.
That's because you're extra sick.
Yep.
That's because 4 of them are HRT meds. Athena.
Yeah, most of mine has less to do with being sick than being defective.
Maybe, I was just thinking, maybe if you're going to be on this show with all of us, that you should be friends.
Listen, we don't know that he isn't trans. Maybe he hasn't come out yet.
No, not trans.
Well, here's your opportunity.
If only it worked that way. Despite all the people thinking it does, here's a public service message. The people who say you can choose to be trans are what we, as computer programmers, like to call wrong.
Yep.
That's a technical term.
And then the brash street term for it would be, were you fucking stupid? Ooh, I got my flu shot. My arm is itchy.
Oh yeah, I need to get my flu shot.
I was supposed to get my monkeypox today, but I missed the appointment, so I'll be getting it next week.
I've been reluctant to get that one. I know I probably should, but I know it's going to knock me out for a couple of days. So.
Yeah. I hope it doesn't knock me out for a couple of days, but usually vaccines don't affect me that much.
The
But,
COVID one.
Yeah, I specifically got a call from the gender clinic that they considered me high priority because it is disproportionately affecting people in the queer community.
Only if you're busy having sex.
Yeah,
Well, I know that, and you know that, but
I've
I
escaped AIDS, HIV all these years because I just don't have sex.
yeah, I don't think the asexuals are a large part of that demographic.
probably not.
We need to learn to leave us alone.
And there need to be more people who just don't always want to sex in a relationship.
Mm. Considering how I was in the late 80s and the 90s, it's kind of surprising I never got HIV.
Well, some people
Wasn't always as careful as I should have been.
some people are nearly immune to it.
Yeah, actually they have found there's a genetic factor that it's a mutation of a delta T chromosome.
That protected against the Black Plague.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Exactly.
Didn't
They
that
said
go-
it's related to that. It's the same people that had the immunity to the Black Plague appear to have a natural immunity to HIV.
God, are we never going to be able to get rid of you?
Get rid of who?
Purple.
No, I keep telling you, I know I'm cursed to outlive everyone I know. You know, I'm going to be doing funeral arrangements for all of you. Probably even the ones half my age.
Well, I told my grandmother she would outlive all of us for years, but that didn't turn out to be the case.
Well, by all indications I have genetically, my normal lifespan should have been something at least in my mid-90s, and I think I've added a few years to that. My mother's parents and 3 of her 4 grandparents lived into their 90s. She's 94 now. And considering I had somewhat better nutrition as a kid and knew that tobacco was a hazard before I ever got hooked on it, basically the alcohols is the only really bad habit I have. So I don't see that unreasonable to think that I've added 5 years to it.
Yeah, I've got to lose weight and change my eating habits, but that's not easy.
Yeah, I know how that is. Not personally, but I've wound up being the one who does all the grocery shopping and cooking, so I've got to be aware of everyone else's diet in the house.
I just cooked up some okra before the live stream started. Yee, what?
Why?
Why what?
Okra, why? That's all.
Because it's good.
I don't care if you like it, but some of us were born north of the Mason-Dixon line.
And
Yeah,
And we still like okra. Huh, amazing.
And no, okra is not slimy.
okay,
You can have your okra, and we'll keep our scrapple up here.
I don't know a more polite way to put it other than saying that grits and okra are not food.
I have never actually had grits.
My fiance liked grits. It was a comfort food from her, but, you know, then again, her family was from Alabama.
See, we were always raised that grits was the sound that you make when you're constipated, trying to poop.
Hey, 420.
So, what are we being skeptical about, Day? Are we just celebrating skeptics in general? Or is
Well,
this
a
going
lot
to
of
be
people
another... Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of people have been skeptical that I'd ever get my new computer built, and thanks to Dick Dawson, I've gotten that just about ready today.
That's good.
Yeah. My new computer build fund is sitting about, 4 filled containers of quarters.
Mine I'd actually finished getting all the parts like a year and a half ago and just never got to assembling it. So I've got all the pieces stuck together now.
I think if I do it this time, I'll want a motherboard with the CPU installed.
Oh, putting the CPU on's not a big deal. I did opt for a CPU that had the graphics built in, so it doesn't have a separate graphics card.
I play video games. I can't really get away with that.
Yeah, see, I don't really do that kind of gaming. Most of the games I play are like adaptations of tabletop games anyway, that they're more strategy and it's not really a timing thing or that. I don't do much of the shooter games.
Pong.
Well, not even just the shooter games, but
Yeah, there's a couple of classic arcade games I like. And I'm still trying to find a working copy of Lemmings.
wait, what?
I
Really?
can't find a copy of Lemmings that actually runs under Windows.
Lemmings.
Oh, what'd you think I said?
I thought you said Linux, and I'm like, wait, what?
Hey, Skits. And Infinite Mua. Skits, I already sent you a link on Discord. 420, if you didn't see a link laying around somewhere, just let me know how to drop you one.
So, has anyone actually watched the documentary on Netflix about Jeffrey Dahmer, the People Nommer?
No.
No.
And should I never refer to him that way again?
It does have an interesting patter to it, but
I'm from Milwaukee, and I was completely aware of everything that went through on that case. I really don't care to hear any more about it ever in my life.
I haven't watched it either, so.
I think it's ghoulish that people make shows like that about people like that.
yeah. My parents got very freaked out because that actually all broke when I had run away from home.
The apartment building he lived in was like 24 units. And it tore the whole damn thing down.
I suppose it would have a notoriety that not many people would want to live there. Yeah, Lemmings is awesome, but I haven't been able to play it since I gave up my Atari ST. I found a version of it that actually looks and runs pretty well under Windows, except you can't get past level 10 because they made a mistake in it. Level 10 says you have to save 100 lemmings, and it only releases 50 lemmings. So it's impossible to get past that level.
Well, Steam doesn't have it, but apparently there's something unrelated coming to Steam called Crazy Lemmings in January.
Yep. Yeah, I got a thing about that in the Steam news a couple of weeks ago. We'll see. We'll see if it can live up to it.
Well, I think the main reason that game stopped being made was that they found that Lemmings didn't actually run to the sea like that.
Well, I knew that at the time anyway, but
I saw the Disney bullshit documentary about lemmings in the God, it was early 60s. About it was these shots of these tens of millions of lemmings casting themselves off the cliffs and into the sea. And it was like, holy cow, this is horrible. You know, it was shocking as a child to see that crap.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one when I was a kid, late 60s, early 70s.
Athena, you cannot eat that bird. Let it go.
Yep.
The catnip is on the inside.
Well, see, the whole thing about the lemmings actually marching off into the sea was that, you know, They wanted to get out of Russia, and they were all stuck in Leningrad.
I mean, I don't think it would really be all that hard to remake Lemmings today. It wasn't that complicated a game, but
Oh, I thought you meant the film.
With the state of CGI, probably not that hard to make that either. Better than real. Yeah, again, I haven't done any programming in decades. I never did learn to program anything under a Windows operating system.
That's why I needed most Windows coders.
Yep. Yeah, I'm afraid that when I went to Windows, I stopped being a programmer and just being a computer user.
I mean, the languages have not changed that much, except the languages used have. I mean, Python is big now. I'm guessing the games were probably written in C, but
Yeah, I never even learned C. Yeah, like I said, I haven't done any of that since I lost my Commodore collection.
C was the precursor to gay coding because it developed into C+ and C++. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that went over us. Okay, we got questions from the side chat. If you wanted to make a game today, what would each of you make for a game?
should I show you my itch.io page?
I saw the one you did.
I've played around with the made-up game. It started off as just a regular RPG. He basically stealing from all the others I've played, and then it kind of morphed into a concept of an MMO RPG. It was fantasy-based.
I haven't really done computer games. I've tried a couple of times to work on like strategy tabletop games. You know, with some limited success, but nothing I ever thought was going to be a big hit. I've actually had a concept for one that I've had kind of just played with for years, but I think it's got a limited audience. I was calling it Pencil Pushers. It's a military game, but not in the regular sense. You're actually the company clerk, and all the battles will be decided by dice rolls based on how many supplies you sent to which division.
The concept I had at the time was that the map of the world would be actually the size of an actual planet. Not something that could have been done at the time I thought it up, but nowadays it would be possible.
Yeah, it's one of the nice things about doing it in computers. You can do things on scale, and you can have impossible things like things that, you know, float, defy gravity and such. Because gravity's a real downer. Sorry, Jenny.
Actually, something I've been wanting to do for a while, and honestly I'm too busy right now to even work on it, was create an old school text game, but have all the features of the modern game, except graphics.
That's the kind of thing I play. Okay, Jenny, you started to say something?
Nope.
Oh, come on.
I think we got bits of lag, but we keep talking over each other. But
And I think more than one of us is on the autism spectrum too, so.
Oh, I definitely am, yeah.
I'm plucking my eyebrows, so my head's elsewhere.
We've got to vote for the text game. Yeah, and that's pretty much my pencil pushers. Won't be much more than a text game with some hopefully interesting graphics.
No, but I mean, you'd have like voice actors, music.
Ah,
And I think ideally to do this properly, I should troll everyone and like have like screenshots of gameplay.
So more of an audiobook game.
No. I want everyone to think that it's actually going to be a video game before it comes out.
okay. Yeah,
However, go ahead.
well, just as far as the audio thing, that I've often had the thought that rather than publishing any of my books in a conventional way, that I might go either straight to audiobook, or I've actually liked the idea of like producing them as radio plays. So for my second book, even as I was writing it, it's like every ship in the book has its own theme song.
Oh, Athena. Wow. You've torn up that toy. And I can't sew.
What'd you do to it?
Oh. She just ripped open the stuffing.
Yeah, Sammy's done that to a couple of his.
She's played with this extensively.
Sammy's favorite toy is the crinkly tube of poking, which is just the stuffed tube that's about as long as his body, but it's got like a layer of mylar in there, so it makes that crunchy, rustling paper sound every time he squeezes on it. And he really gets into that one, that he hugs it as tight as he can and does the kangaroo kick with his back legs until he rips it open. So he's on his third one.
I was going to say, the fish I bought you earlier was more sturdy, though. But I think you like this one because it makes noise.
Well, Sammy got some new furniture this week. Menards had some nice cat towers at a good price. So I assembled one according to the instructions, but actually I bought two of them, and I'm going to start modifying pieces and, just stick the two of them together so that instead of having one that's 3.5 feet tall, I'm going to give him one that's like 6 feet tall and twice as wide.
So what were you going to do? So were you the one planning on building that, I guess it would be electronic, but it wasn't computerized device to just put things through on a circuit and have them go around every so many minutes or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of some cat toys that I was going to do little electronic things for. Well, like one of the toys I've got for him is I've just got these guns that shoot foam balls. That when I'm working and he's bored, I just pop a few down the hallway for him to chase. So I was kind of thinking I could do something like that, like an air cannon with just a random electronic timer, so that even when I'm gone from time to time, it would just pop off a shot or two for him to chase.
Athena, I should find that little like ball with a bell in it that you played with and batted around the tub. Which you'd still have if I hadn't stepped on it.
Yep, that happens to a lot of cat toys.
Skeptics Day. I don't believe it. We haven't heard that joke this panel yet.
Hey, Randy.
Any new harmonicas?
Well, he did did a couple of days ago post a concert that he was doing with a friend. So if you haven't heard his music, go check out his channel. Which I can get a link for here momentarily. Yeah, seems to be kind of a low energy day for everyone.
I got it.
Well, I'm usually in bed. We've been in bed. Or close to being in bed most of the time for the last, couple of months at this point.
Thanks, Mage.
Athena.
Yeah. Even when I've had jobs that made me get up in the morning, I'm still never good at getting to bed before midnight. Actually, anytime I get to bed before 2 a.m., I feel I'm doing well.
I think we just need to stop seeing people staying up all night and sleeping from 4 till noon as being lazy.
Right.
That is just some people's natural sleep schedule.
Yeah, it always has seemed to be for me, and most people don't get it, like you say, that for one thing, I've always felt that midnight to sunrise, is my most productive time. Among other things, nobody's interrupting me.
Athena.
The phone doesn't ring. Nobody's coming and asking me to do something.
Oh, no, human is interrupting you.
Even when the power was out, I basically went to this weird sleep cycle where I'd fall asleep for about 4 hours and wake up in the middle of the night, and I'd be up the rest of the night.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of historical evidence for that, the split sleep, that pretty much until the industrial age, the idea of sleeping 6 or 8 hours straight was really weird. That most people would sleep for 3 or 4 hours and they'd get up and they'd do something for a couple hours and then they'd go back to bed for a couple hours.
That's kind of what I was doing when I didn't have any power to keep track of the time.
Well, like I say, there's a lot of historical evidence that, up until about 1800, that was a normal thing for most people. Got 4 new harmonicas, so you gotta show them off, huh?
Yeah, I saw something on Twitter. I wonder if the rest of you saw. I think it may be true. The question is, what if Bob Ross, the painter guy on public television, what if what he's really painting are the locations of all the bodies?
I've heard that one before. Actually, I've been promoting that conspiracy for about the last 6 months.
Listen, you can't really promote conspiracy theories because if they have any plausibility, the people you want to pick them up won't. I've been trying to spread one that Trump lost by exactly 2 to the 23rd, 2 to the power of 23 votes. Because a cosmic ray flipped a bit. And none of the QAnon people will pick it up because it's too plausible. Because that's something that could actually happen.
Did any of you listen to the January 6th hearing today?
No.
I was at work.
I only saw one little clip of it where they were saying that they want to call Trump in.
Yeah, he won't come in.
He's been sent a subpoena already today.
Okay. So they did officially send one.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in deep shit.
Well, yeah, this whole thing with all of the documents they found at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, maybe I'll be able to come visit him in Terre Haute.
Well, now you heard about the person, one of his staff people, have actually come forward and said that he had direct conversations with Trump about moving the documents, and he's willing to tell them everything he knows and that there's actually videotape, security tape of them having that conversation.
Yeah. Actually, the committee has already seen the videotape. That it's the security video from Mar-a-Lago showing people moving the boxes in.
I just wish Trump would. If they're going to indict Trump, I'd wish they do it already.
Well, see, the January 6th hearing committee,
Yeah, that doesn't have that kind of power.
they don't have any power to do that. All they can do is gather their facts, organize them, and send them off to the Department of Justice. And then it's Justice's decision what to do with it.
Of course, I think for Trump that if any of these lawsuits would go through that would just leave him broke, I think for him that might even be worse than sending him to prison.
Yeah, it's possible.
You know, if he actually has to live somewhere and work to pay the rent.
Personally, I think one of the worst things you could have done to him was ban him from Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, well, Twitter did ban him, and that's definitely had a huge impact on him. I think it's made him become even more unhinged, which is why he's been saying more of the stuff he shouldn't be saying when he's on interviews. Because, yeah, more than anything, he's like, it's all about his ego. He's desperate for attention. He panics if there aren't enough people paying attention to him.
Only Kitty the Atheist were in here.
Yeah. I did trade some texts with her yesterday, and she's doing okay. She's just worn out all the time from just having to take care of her family and all. And, you know, while the storm didn't hit them as hard, she does have some cleanup from the hurricane.
Actually, I think we're about to go into the second tornado season. If we haven't been through it already. But the weather, hello, Math Pig. How's the math going?
Hello. Well, we've got Oink. I was hoping for a moo tonight, actually, but she hasn't been responding, so hopefully she fell asleep early.
Oh, Diana, how's the car doing?
Yeah, the car's good. Sloth Girl's getting used to driving it. Actually, today she went to the pharmacy on her own, so that was her first time. Actually, yesterday was her first time driving it at all, so this was her first time driving it that I wasn't in there with her.
How does it feel to own a minivan?
Not my first minivan. I had a Chevy Venture when I lived in New York.
Just tell people you're practicing to be a soccer mom.
I really wish I didn't have a minivan.
I've got nothing against the minivan, and actually I already was a soccer mom, you know, back about 2005 to 2008.
Well, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. You have to do it currently.
Yeah, I was literally a soccer mom that I was literally picking up my daughter from school and driving her to soccer practice.
Evening.
Hey, Pan. How you doing, Matt Big?
I'm doing good. It's a wee bit late. I've been having trouble sleeping, but I made apple pie, and that got me very awake. I don't know if you've seen that on Twitter.
Ooh,
I saw something on Twitter about you making pies. I didn't catch what kind it was.
It was I went for the traditional. I got an American to give me an American apple pie recipe from her grandmother, and we went with that. And I even attempted a lace topping, which it turned out decent enough, although I was not a fan of cinnamon. So I put less cinnamon in it than I would what they suggested.
Hmm.
In saying that, it didn't have the kick that you would get, taste wise with an apple pie.
Yeah,
The
I was gonna
sweetness.
say
Yeah.
with an apple pie, you kind of need the cinnamon. I don't see that as optional there.
I'm not a huge cinnamon fan, so I was not as liberal as they suggested. But yeah, there was. I don't want to say there was a delayed flavor, but there was no kick, and like 2 seconds later, you get the sweetness. I was missing that. So next time there will be, against my better judgment, more cinnamon.
Yeah,
I-
Sloth Girl says the one thing that she won't do is pie crust.
I
That
got
she can't do a good pie crust, and that her mother used to do it so well that she just won't. She'll just buy the pre-made crust.
I was very lucky today. There was 30% off, and I got it for $175. It was just enough to make one pie with the lattice and top and all. But at $175 per pre-rolled pie crust, it's not too bad,
I had gotten the cheesecake sampler, and one point, speaking of pie crust, I had made my own cheesecake, and I made the pie crust out of graham cracker and pine nuts.
Yep.
Geez, and the most
You can buy an apple pie in the shop, and an apple pie in the shop about this size would probably be about £3 or £4. And what I spent today in ingredients, except for the pie crust, was the guts of a tenner. But there's enough there now that the only thing I need then extra after this is butter and apples.
Bad apple pies in this neck of the woods are about $7-8.
Well,
Yeah,
I made my apple pie in a cake tin because I didn't have a pie dish. So it's very deep, very wide. It's like 1.5 inches thick of an apple pie.
Yeah, Mage, you were saying about the cheesecake with the graham cracker crust.
Yeah.
Another really good variant on that is do a cheesecake, and instead of graham crackers, use the Oreo cookies for the crust.
That would work for a chocolate cheesecake, maybe.
Yeah. Well, even just a chocolate crust on a plain cheesecake or a vanilla cheesecake.
If you're talking cheesecake, which is usually a digestive base, what we would throw in over here is the odd ginger nut biscuit. It gives it a wee bit of a zing, gives it a wee bit of that flavor, which is quite nice.
Athena.
Pumpkin,
So how are things in the Matrix?
pumpkin is the best pie there is.
Pumpkin?
Nothing beats pumpkin pie.
I'm kind of neutral on pumpkin pie.
Around this time of year, everything's pumpkin.
No, I'm sorry, you guys are wrong. It's just the best pie, and that's all there is to it.
Yes,
I
I
don't know,
agree.
I'm big on French silk or lemon meringue. Those are my favorites.
Well, then
Athena.
maybe you'll just have to move to that country.
Athena, get down. Yes, I agree. One side is right, and the other side is math picking Mage Grey Wolf.
What did I say?
I don't know. I'm
Apparently,
only
you weren't quick enough to vote for the pumpkin pie, I guess.
Hmm.
I'm only half paying attention because I have to keep Athena occupied.
Yeah, Sammy had his little running about session just before we started, so he's napping right now. But don't worry. In about an hour, he'll get another burst. It's always like between midnight and 1 a.m. that he starts running up and down the hall and bouncing off the walls.
I am sure that once again, I will wake up Athena, get down, with her fishing rod toy next to me. Even though I had left it in another room. Hello, Carol.
Oh, I let the side check go away. Hey, Carol. Thanks. So, yes, can you come up with anything this month that is not pumpkin spice flavored?
Apparently not apple cider.
Let's see, we got pumpkin spice flavored condoms.
Are you serious?
Apparently, it actually exists.
Oh my god.
Pumpkin spice flavored pumpkin spice.
Yeah, why not?
Just remember that he who controls the spice, controls the pumpkin spice, controls the white woman's universe.
And again, they keep going back and forth with saying that it does exist and it doesn't exist on these various sites I'm clicking on.
What exists and what doesn't exist? Pumpkin spice?
Pumpkin spice condoms. Some say it does exist, some say it doesn't.
I'm sure there's got to be a company out there that makes them.
I've never had pumpkin spice. Does the object of the pumpkin spice have a pumpkin taste with the spice, or is it just a spice taste?
No, it's really just the spice. It doesn't have any pumpkin itself.
Well, then it's a lie in marketing. I think they should be prosecuted.
I don't think it's a criminal offense.
It should be.
I just wanted to pop in and say hello, Purple, but it's getting late over here, so I'm going to bounce and go to bed.
Okay.
So.
Well, thanks for stopping in.
Good night.
Always good just to pop in and say hi. Appreciate everybody. I think Mage, was it your birthday last week? Did I miss that?
Yesterday.
Yep, yesterday.
Yesterday. I knew it was somewhere. Yes. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
One quick mention before you leave, Matt Pig. For those who aren't aware, Nervardia is in Twitter jail. She should be getting out sometime tomorrow, but nobody's sure exactly when.
So what exactly did she do?
She was rude to a billionaire.
Elon Musk?
No,
Yeah,
I think Rowling.
I think it was Rowling, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, who cares if you're rude to J.K. Rowling?
Well, have you noticed that if I tell you that, shut up, you're a stupid fucker, I can write that to you, but if I write that to J.K. Rowling, I'm out of here. It's like there's a whole different tier of law, even in this, for rich people.
Yep, there definitely is on Twitter.
Well, I think J.K. Rowling is I think a lot of people will just report trans accounts.
I'm surprised I haven't gotten in trouble for cursing out some of the politicians on Twitter.
That are tweeting at J.K. Rowling because they don't really understand that J.K. Rowling is a transphobe and trans people have legitimate complaints against her.
I did look over her points of why she's against trans.
Listen, when you write a almost genocidal manifesto against trans people, there's a good chance you might be transphobic.
Well, also, when you spend a year justifying it, yeah.
But I think ContraPoints did a good video on her that basically she's just blaming trans people for something bad that happened to her.
Something that was committed by a cis white guy.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm sorry, JK, but get some therapy.
Well, trans people are the most evil thing on earth, so it's what we get, what we deserve.
I'm really not that good at being evil.
You don't have to be, you're trans.
It does take practice to be sinister properly. That's why I just opted to make it part of my moniker.
Hi, Kara. Hi, Carol.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sweep the floor tomorrow.
With the cat?
Not with the cat.
You wrap the cat in a swifter pad, and then you dust.
The cat has already managed to spread her hair any place she can get it.
Well, yeah, that's just the nature of cat hair. If you have had a cat in your home more than 10 minutes, you will have cat hair on every surface.
Are you evil because you're an atheist? Or are you an atheist because you're evil?
Yeah, it's always hard to figure out the cause and effect on that one, isn't it?
Well, I know that I wasn't evil before I became an atheist. So I think all my evilosity has been since I became an atheist. So atheism breeds evil. So that's just the way it is.
Well, when I was Christian, I was a petty criminal and suicidal, and haven't had any of that since I gave up the Bible. So, being an atheist, if anything, has made me less evil.
All right. Hey, at least you only had one book of scripture. Some of us had 4 to deal with.
Well, a big part of the reason that the Bible indoctrination never took with me was I lived in an area that was 85% Jewish. So 4 out of 5 people that I talked about the Bible with had read it in Hebrew and were telling me about all the translation errors.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of translations. Well, that's for the Old Testament, but what about the New Testament? That wasn't written in Hebrew. And it certainly wasn't written in Aramaic.
Yeah, but all the hate rules are in the Old Testament.
Well, I think about all you need to know about the validity of the New Testament is what were the odds of finding 4 guys named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the Middle East 2,000 years ago?
I think you should do that as a show. And I'm serious here. Get a hold of some Hebrew speakers or translators and discuss the flaws of the Old Testament and how modern day evangelicals are based on bad translations and stuff. Ouch. I think you get
I think it would make a good show. Unfortunately, those are all people from when I was growing up, so not anybody I'm in contact with anymore.
Okay, well, I think my body wants me to go to sleep because I've been pushing myself, and I think it wants to take time to try to fight off this infection. If it's an infection, so.
Well, and that would be a good thing to do before flu season really gets underway.
So, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
I got my flu shot.
Yep, I got my flu shot a couple of weeks ago. I'm good on that.
I'm sorry to report I went to Walgreens, but they were free. So.
Yeah. I basically want to get every vaccination I can before next week, because the Brothers Weekend thing of having to spend the weekend with my eldest brother, who is an anti-vaxxer.
Good reason.
Yeah, even though he's had COVID twice, he won't get the vaccine for it. I had it once. I'm never doing that again. That was a miserable month.
I am very unhappy with this latest round of COVID. The first one I got that monoclonal thing, and it knocked down the majority of the symptoms extremely well and extremely fast. I still had it, was infected, but everything felt so minor. It almost didn't it felt stupid to be staying inside the house for a week or so.
I hear this latest variant is resistant to a lot of those treatments.
Well, anyways, on this go over with COVID, I was diagnosed with it past the point where you can get and have those kind of drugs be effective. So I've had to go through the whole full-blown COVID, and it's been 3+ weeks, and
Yeah.
I still feel like absolute shit.
Yeah.
Headaches, brain fog. I'm absolutely completely exhausted all the time.
Yeah, that's the same way I was with it. I got it last Christmas, and the whole month of January was like that because by the time the clinic got around to scheduling me for the monoclonal antibodies, I had passed the window of when they thought they would be effective, so then they weren't willing to do it anymore.
Apparently that's really expensive. I heard somebody say that was like in the thousands.
Yeah. I don't know. It was supposed to be covered under the medical insurance, but...
Well, I was covered under Medicare. So I'm pleased at that anyway. And did you hear that we're getting a nice fat cost of living increase for Social Security retirement money?
Yeah, that's over twice the size of the regular one, so it's still half the rate of inflation.
It's about 8.6%, they said.
Yeah.
It'll show up starting with the January cycle. So whenever you get your check in January, that should reflect the change.
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
Well, of course, then after they do that, they're going to wind up recalculating my rent is based on my income, so it's like if the feds decide to give me $50, they'll hike my rent $30. I'll make a little bit of a gain on that, but it won't be nearly enough to make up for the difference in how much groceries have gone up.
I'm kind of wondering.
I figured that if I just keep doing the bad food ramen noodle diet that I've been on for the last few months, that I'll actually have extra money at the end of the month. I can do some things like maintain my car.
I'm
It's
kind
way behind on. It needs a new battery. The fucking battery died today.
Ooh.
Oh, crap.
That's a pain in the ass.
I drive home from La Crosse, quick 25 miles or so. Everything's fine. It started fine and all that kind of stuff. I go to the convenience store to grab a coffee. I come out and absolutely flat as a pancake.
Yeah. My cars is very similar like that, where it seems to run fine and all of a sudden it'll just be dead.
Jen, if I had a way to get it to you, I could let you have the battery out of my old one before we drunk it. So that might be worth taking a trip for. Because I'm sure I haven't looked at the cost of a new car battery in quite a number of years, but I'm sure it's well over $100.
So would it be compatible?
Yeah, that would be another issue. Of course, you get an adapter kit, anything fits, right?
Not sure if that works. Then again, I know about what I know about cars amounts to potato.
Yeah, well, they do have adapters to make a side post into top post and a top post into side post. But I've also seen the results of somebody who used one of those things, and because it made the battery a half of an inch taller when they closed the hood, it shorted out against the sheet metal on the hood. It basically just melted the whole battery down because they couldn't get the hood open fast enough to break the connection.
With the increase on Social Security and all that, I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen, and if at some point they start giving out $2,000 or more a month.
Well, yeah, I'd need a much bigger increase to be getting anywhere near that mark.
I'm just thinking about that, since if you have 2,000 in the account at the end of the month, they they won't pay you next month, or they're not supposed to.
I'm concerned about how much the increase is going to affect Medicare coverage, because I was just about to apply for Medicare.
Oh, you're not on it yet?
No, but I sure need to be. I can't afford being sick anymore. I just can't.
Yeah, well,
I'm in hot for about almost $4,000 to the hospital at this point.
Jeez.
Well, if you can show hospital bills, that'll help, because if you've got outstanding medical bills, even if you're slightly over the limit, that can, basically buy down your income to the point where you qualify. So any hospital bills, any doctor bills, even receipts for your prescriptions, if you turn all those in when you're trying to qualify for Medicare, it'll help.
That's one of the things I do not have any complaints about is my drug co-pays. My co-pays range from $1.30 to $6.
Yeah, I've been very happy. The highest one I've had here so far was $4, and compared to what I was paying for them in Michigan or New York, that's just fantastic. Most of mine are $1.35 each.
So I've been milking my estradiol prescription because it was written badly, and I can get a new vial every month when a vial takes about 2 to 3 months to go through. And so I got this nice little stash of estradiol that I've built up. I'd like to find out what people pay for it and sell it to them for a little less than what they're paying.
Yeah, I'd actually been doing the same thing, except with supply issues, my pharmacy wasn't getting the estradiol anymore. So they've changed my prescription to substitute this delestrogen instead, which is basically the same thing, but it's not in as strong a concentration. So I have to inject twice as much.
With this whole thing on the costs of medicine and all that, one thing I can't seem to get through to people who are against universal health care is it actually costs you less out of pocket. You may be paying more in taxes, but that won't be nearly as much as what you're paying out of pocket, either to pay for the insurance that you've got, or to pay out of pocket when you don't have insurance.
Yeah, I don't. You're right. I don't get how people can hear the numbers. That hey, if we get one payer system, that you're going to spend this much, and if you continue with insurance, you're going to spend 3 times that much. They just kind of ignore that fact. It's like,
they just hear tax is bad.
Listen to what you're saying, dude. You're going to spend the money anyways. It might as well go to the less expensive route. It's just, they're so stupid.
You'll be spending less money, and then you're actually being more for it, and everybody's covered.
Yeah, but that's socialism, and they're right. That is socialism.
Yep,
but socialism is not necessarily an evil thing.
Well,
not when it will help the majority of the population.
That's because they're not smart enough to realize that socialism is an economic structure, not a political structure.
Yep.
I think socialism and communism are the same thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, fun fact on that. since they like to equate the Marxism form of communism, Karl Marx is actually against democratic socialism.
Yeah, but they don't even understand U.S. history. You're not going to get them to understand Russian history.
I'm real bothered by a lot of the young people today who, like the 18 to 30-year-olds who are walking around saying, "Oh, we got to go communism." It's like, guys, you do not want to go communism. Listen to those of us who lived through it.
Yeah.
You do not want communism. Social democracy, great. Communism, that's stupid. You're asking to be a slave. And they just see this, but everybody will have the same. No, they won't. Because communism can be easily abused to have the same thing that we have now, that a bunch of oligarchs and the rest of us are slaves.
Not the only way I could see communism really working was if we had virtually unlimited resources to draw from, which we don't.
I don't care what they do, just so they double math budget.
The interesting thing with the social democracy thing, if you ask the same people who are against social democracy, are you in favor of workers having a say in the workplace they work at, which is social democracy? Basically, they'll say yes. They are in favor of that.
Carol, save capitalism in America. I agree with that. I think capitalism should be saved. I don't have a problem with capitalism that is well regulated and blended with socialism.
I agree with that statement.
Yep.
A blend of the two, definitely. Like I said, my general stand is if it's something that most or everyone in the society needs, there should be some sort of social program to cover that.
Yeah, well, no, I agree that, a blend of socialism and capitalism makes sense. That what we have now is a predatory capitalism that, it's out of control the way it's exploiting the workers, and it is unsustainable because we have a consumer economy. And if they're not paying people enough to buy products, what's going to sustain the economy? Apparently a bag of potato chips.
Oh, I got a good deal on pretzels today.
I like pretzels, but I can't deal with them anymore.
Rolled gold. Little minis pretzels.
Yep.
You get an actual pound bag, not these 9 ounces of potato chips, for less than potato chips. It was like excellent, good deal.
Yeah, also pretzels have a lot less fat than potato chips.
Yep.
Yeah, Carol.
Chips.
And when Colorado legalized recreational marijuana, 2 years into it, one of their biggest problems was trying to find programs to throw money at, because the tax revenues wound up being 8 times what they had projected. That's why all of a sudden California highways got a whole lot better. Or not California, Colorado highways rather, I meant. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about what Biden's done as far as proposing the schedule change for marijuana status?
Oh, definitely. It should be reclassified to a much lower category.
Yeah, they're talking about the schedule 2, but that's still way more restrictive than it should be. It should be schedule 3.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to just make it over the counter nationally.
Well, because the Republicans can't deal with radical change.
Yep. Well, everything in this country works by money and lobby groups. You've got to find out who's going to make a profit off the change and get them to do it. So I really think that if we want to get marijuana recreational on a national level, you got to look at who's going to make the money off of it. And I think we need to get Hostess and Frito-Lay behind it. Because what's going to happen when the whole country's got the munchies at the same time?
Well, gee.
Yeah, the price of, the market for junk food is just going to skyrocket there.
Get Yum Brands on board with that too, seeing as they own Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Yep.
Yum brand?
Yeah, Yum Brands.
Yeah, that's the company now that runs them.
They own KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, the Habit Burger Grill.
I haven't heard that before.
And they used to own Long John Silver's and A&W restaurants.
We still have an active A&W here.
I think there's one around here too.
With car hops and everything.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually seen one with car hops in years.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, I think there's still one around here, but it's basically just a low-end bar.
We have also a drive-in here, called Rudy's, and Rudy's likes to keep it traditional, that absolute 1950s kind of service, and their car hops. They don't wear uniforms, but they're all on skates, and everything just goes like it did in the 50s, and it's real nice, and the prices are quite reasonable. And
yeah, there's an independent one like that in Delano, Minnesota, called Peppermint Twist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same kind of thing. That you just pull up and they bring everything right out to the car.
And then there's one in Winona, Lakeview or something like that. It's on one of the main streets that everybody knows it. It's kind of small, so it's hard to get a parking spot and things. But if you do the foods, and they have some unusual foods too, like they have.
Went quiet there.
Yeah, I think we lost Jenny for a little bit. She'll be back.
Oh, all right. Well,
but I seem to be kind of immune to cannabis. That I have smoked up dozens of times, and there's only been 2 occasions where it really had any noticeable effect on me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we
we
are.
are. You were saying, if you remember.
Yeah. I was just talking about this drive-through in Winona. It's kind of small, so it's hard to get a spot. But once you do, they have very, very interesting and unusual foods. They actually have like fried clams as a main entree. They have salmon fish sticks, which I find just to be wonderful.
Salmon fish sticks, that does actually sound good.
It really is. It's surprising. You wouldn't think that the two would go together well, but it sure does. Makes you want to have more.
Yeah. Back when my dad was around, and I used to go up visiting him, and there was this one place at the mall called Johnny Rockets. It was set up like a 50s diner, and each table had its own jukebox, and every so often, and all the staff would just stop what they were doing and get out and start dancing.
Yeah. That was actually a chain. I had seen a few of those. I never ate there.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, it's your standard, your burger and stuff. Decent burger. It was a fun place to go.
I ordered my new heater blower motor from my car. The factory wanted $540 for 11. But I found a place on eBay that sold them for $50.
Glad you found a decent deal on it. Agog. I need to map this.
The only time I probably got high was from the secondhand smoke of being in a very small room with two people smoking.
I miss smoking in a bar.
Yeah, the only one I really have clearly remember was when I was a teenager and we were smoking it through a bong full of wine. So basically, you were inhaling the alcohol along with the marijuana smoke, and I think that gave it an extra kick.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, that was the one time I had a really interesting experience. Because my friend and I both saw this same creature.
You took a trip and never left the farm.
Yep.
I can see things without having to get be on drugs.
I measured my hair today. It's 27 inches long.
Oh, that's what Sloth Girls was too. Okay, so now I've got a very accurate idea of how it hits you. Oh, I miss it when mine was that long. Well, mine was never quite that long, but at least it was down to my belt. I've always had a thing about long hair. Even since I was in grade school, it's like, yeah, one of my first crushes were just because her hair was so long she could sit on it.
I have always wanted long hair since I was a little girl.
Yeah, mine just doesn't get any longer than this anymore. It's only just past my shoulder blades. And yeah, it's been over 15 years and it hasn't grown any longer than that.
Well, I'm convinced that what I'm doing now is making a difference. That I stopped using a brush. I do not brush my hair anymore.
Thank you, Doc.
I just use one of these wide tooth combs that are supposedly real good for when your hair is wet right after shampoo. And the amount of hair that I lose with each combing is like damn near zero. You count them in 4, 5, 10, 6 of them at a time. And in the brush, it used to pretty much fill the brush every time you brush your hair. And what it tells me, I asked the hairdresser, and she said that, well, what that's telling you is that you're not breaking your hair off. And because a brush grabs so hard, it will break hair, especially really thin hair like I have.
Yeah, that's mine too, is very fine and brittle.
I also get knots in my ponytail.
Yeah, well, I have to brush mine out every day, otherwise it does get all snarled up. And I use a brush. I use just a comb like that on it when it's wet, but when it's dry, I just have to use a regular brush. Although I'm trying some new hair care products that Kitty had recommended for me, so see if that helps.
I was just going to ask if you noticed any difference so far.
I've only been using it for about a month, so I think it's too early to really say anything. I think it's something that more like, we'll see if 6 months down the line if it's gotten any longer. That's one of the things I really hate about product reviews, on Amazon and really anywhere on the internet, is that everybody reviews the products when they've used them for like a week. What I really want to know is, how do you feel about the thing 6 months after you bought it? Did it fall apart after 3 months?
Yeah, it's definitely something you want to learn.
Yeah, if I'm spending more than $10 on something, I want to know how long it's going to last.
Yeah, I kind of like the ones where they're saying, I've had this product before and I've bought it again and it lasted X amount of time.
Yep.
I was at Walgreens and they were marking down stuff because everybody's getting ready for Christmas too early.
Yeah.
And I got a Christmas teddy bear, and he's let's see, about 2 feet high when he's sitting, and about
a big one.
2.5, 2.8 when he's standing. Oh, he's so warm and so soft.
I have a Triceratops about that size that Sloth Girl had put in my Easter basket after we moved here, so that was 2 years ago. And it was just ridiculous because it was really like 5 times the size of the basket she tried to stuff it in.
I haven't had a stuffed toy since I was like 5.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing I'm on that, we need to just, people need to accept that's normal for adults to sleep with stuffed toys.
I still have a bunch of my stuffed toys. I also have the stuffed toy that my dad had and my mom had.
Yeah. Well, I've got a little Triceratops that I sleep with every night. Mostly I'm using it to prop up one arm. But that one was a gift from one of my daughters when I was sick.
I would still like to get one of those Blaha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. From IKEA. It's a stuffed shark.
Oh yeah.
It's the
the trans shark.
Trans people, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get why that was a trans thing, but in the pictures for the longest time that I saw, I didn't realize it had any pink on it. So having seen the pink mouth, it makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, I've bought myself a few stuffed animals over the years in an adult form. I got the this wolf that I dressed up as a Jedi from Build-A-Bear. I kind of went all out with getting him, and don't mind. Some of the money for buying it went to like an endangered animal kind of thing for charity. So that was nice. I also got a little Cthulhu and a Grumpy Cat, and of course then there's my custom one of my cockatiel who died.
Sloth Girl on occasion has crocheted dolls. Actually, if any of you watch Cirrus, when Cirrus does his stuff live, you'll see that there's a stuffed doll of him, and Sloth Girl made that, and we sent it to him. And even Cirrus's partner refers to the doll as the real Cirrus. I was trying to get her into making some for other people, but I know they take an awful lot of time, so. Oh, yep.
This is weird. Usually SteamYards will let me be on here and switch to chat and just sit there all day reading the chat as it comes in. But tonight it wants to drop the connection after 5 minutes. So that's why I'm disappearing.
Yeah, I figured that's what had happened when you got cut off in the middle of talking there.
I just got to touch the screen every once in a while.
Oh. Ow.
Sounds like mobile StreamYard needs a lot of work.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
StreamYard just doesn't work real well on mobile devices.
Which is foolish. They should improve it because it's would be such a lucrative market for them.
Mm.
You know, there's
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of people could suddenly do streaming.
Yeah, they should put more time into developing the mobile version.
And
Because I
then
know we've had a number of people who are, only using cell phones or tablets.
yeah, and then make sure it works well on an iPad too.
Yep.
I ordered something for my iPad. I've had an iPad for a number of years before I really started going broke and stuff.
Mhm.
And my brothers and sister-in-law gave me some cash for Christmas, and so I found and bought this keyboard and case combination that allows you to, when you put the iPad into its little mount, which of course is the cover that moves up and down and closes, you can pivot it 180 degrees. So if you're there, you can show somebody what you're working on and stuff like that, which is kind of nice. It runs on a lithium battery and it's Bluetooth connection, of course. And
So do you have an iPad now?
Oh yeah, I've had one for a long time, but
Okay.
it's not. It's only Wi-Fi. It does not have the cell phone component, so I can't.
Oh, okay. That's why you can't use it for streaming.
Exactly. If I had Wi-Fi, it'd be no problem. I could run two devices at once.
Yeah. Carol, I've been doing these streams under Windows 10. Well, for going on 5 years now. So StreamYard seems very happy with Windows 10 running under Chrome.
I just want to find someone to stream. I need to do it. I got too many ideas going on in my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've only got like internet access. Well,
Just
you must go. Yeah, you must go through a lot of data then when you're streaming with us from the park.
20-30 gig a month.
That
More
must get
than that.
expensive.
Yeah.
No, we have a family plan with unlimited,
Oh, okay.
and it really is unlimited. And I know my brother and sister-in-law, who are the other people on the family plan, don't use internet much at all with their phones. So it's pretty much all mine. I want to do, and it does slow down after a certain point, which is their way of discouraging you from being total cell.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't find the slowdown to be too terribly bad for what I'm doing online.
Well, and that's another thing that StreamYard is pretty good about. Even if I've run some of these streams from my old laptop. So even if you're running from a really old, slow computer, it doesn't really seem to bother it much. And even the connection I'm on now is actually the lowest tier that our internet provider offers.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really use a lot of your resources. Most of it's done on the website, so it's not really taking a lot from you.
Well, I love the iPad. The screen size is perfect. I can even, and it's so fast. It's just outrageously fast. I play PUBG, and the people are always complaining about latency and stuff like that. And I have zero latency with the iPad.
Okay, I need to hang up my headset for a minute, but I'll be listening. So
So I guess we still keep talking then.
What kind of system do you use, Mage, for your? You're not doing your things live. You're taping them, right? And
Yeah.
assembling them.
Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe doing something live if eventually though.
What do you use for editing software?
I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and I also have Audacity for some of the sound stuff.
Is it expensive?
It's a free version. It's all free.
Hmm.
There was a few things that are limited on DaVinci Resolve but I haven't really run into anything major.
I need a new laptop. My laptops are all dead. Which is kind of how this whole mess started. But I really, really, really don't want to buy a Windows machine. It's such a horrible system.
Yeah, I'm running a Windows 10 machine on right now. It's actually I actually set this thing up to be more of an entertainment system than an actual computer. But since my old Windows 7 machine is dying on me, I've kind of been forced to use it.
Oh shit! What was I just thinking? Stool uses a Mac and an emulator for Windows. And
Yeah, I've seen emulators. My dad used to set up Linux all the time. He'd have a Windows emulator. Kind of slow to run, but
well, they say I haven't experienced it myself because I haven't used it, but I've heard people who are much more savvy than I with Windows that the Windows app actually works better under emulation on a Mac than it does on a Windows machine. Less crashing, more trouble free, and all this kind of stuff. Not changing its settings in the middle of the day, when you're in the middle of a broadcast or something.
yeah, I played around with this thing, so it doesn't update on me automatically.
That's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it took me a few tries of different things, but I finally got it. Not exactly sure exactly what worked, and maybe it was a combination of things. But I set I set the internet to metered. I think that was what finally got it, but I think there was a few other things I did that also helped.
What does metered mean?
Basically, it would, what does that actually mean?
sorry, I missed that. Metered in what context?
Penis size.
Providers can change by data usage. So basically, it's a setting on the internet connection.
Okay, now it's my turn to go wee wee.
Internet service provider can change by data use. That's called the metered internet connection. And these plans often have a data limit. And if you exceed the limit, you might have to pay extra. But it's actually just this one here. It's just a setting being on the connection. So basically it's looking at it like as if I have a limited amount of data to work with, and I don't. So it's not supposed to update when it's set like that.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't do much as far as internet on anything mobile. I just have my desktop at home, and I prefer to keep it this way. You know, I like to keep things hard cabled. Which actually I've been told is one of the reasons I don't have a problem with StreamYards. Is that I've got a physical cable instead of using a Wi-Fi connection. Apparently, if you've got a Wi-Fi connection, it's more prone to dropping.
Yeah, I got my machines hooked up to Ethernet cables. There are a few things I can't do that with though.
Yeah, well, actually, one of the things I got to go out tomorrow, and I've got to get a router so that I can have more than one computer plugged in at a time. Because with setting up the new computer, that's going to be a pain in the ass if I have to keep swapping the cable back and forth. You kidding me? Yeah, that's kind of on my list of, if I won the lottery, that there's a couple of dozen people I'd be buying computers for.
Yeah, I'm slowly saving up to get another computer.
Well, the only reason I was able to get everything for the new one was that I stretched out always watching for deals, and took me over a year to collect all the parts. Just trying to get everything at discount prices. So if you're patient and you want to shop around, you can often find some deals.
I'm probably stuck with having to get whatever I can find off of Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Sloth Girl didn't want to wait for me to build one, which I can understand for as long as it took me. So yeah, we got her a refurbished laptop off of Amazon. I'm a big fan of buying refurbished stuff.
Yeah, the one I have here is refurbished.
Yeah, Carol, I was saying that I collected all the parts, and my anxiety was keeping me from actually doing it. But with Dick Dawson's help, now I've got all the pieces stuck together. So at this point, mostly it's a matter of me getting some programs into it so that it'll start actually doing something. My anxiety is actually getting better since we've been here, but it's kind of like even realizing that it's getting better is just making me realize how far down I had gone while I was stuck living in Michigan.
Yeah, but you got a future now.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
Yeah.
I can't believe how moving to a rural area has changed me. I'm just so completely laid back. I don't get hyper at all when things are going bad, problems developing and stuff. I can actually wake up in the morning and look outside and really appreciate where I'm living.
Yeah. Well, my main problem in Michigan was just I knew I couldn't be myself there. I could not let anybody know that I was not not one of the flock, as it were.
Yeah, well, you had all your family there.
Yep. And that was a big part of it, was that even if I didn't care what people thought of me, I realized that what they thought of me was going to affect my brother and sister's careers. So out of consideration for them, I had to keep quiet about being queer.
What do they do?
Well, my brother's works for the mental health center there, and my sister's an RN.
You would think that they would be not be problematic.
Well, they aren't. It's more the problems of what the people in the community would cause for them.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, my brother that's living in Michigan is the one in the family that I have had the least problems with. I feel he's the most accepting of all my siblings.
Michigan just introduced a bunch of extremely restrictive, negative, hate-filled laws against trans people.
I'd heard bits about some, but I wasn't paying a lot of attention to it.
I don't have the checklist memorized of all the things that they made, but it basically makes it illegal to be trans. And has actually talks about things like life in prison.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's absolutely insane.
Well, even when I was there, it's like I never even gave any thought to the transitioning there. I knew that the medical coverage there was not going to help pay for any of it. So, just even the basic drugs and that could get into be well over $1,000 a month if you don't have the medical coverage helping with it.
Yeah. Yeah, even 40 years ago, hormone HRT was just prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, well, that's what kept me from doing it in New York. My late fiance, she was completely supportive of it. Actually, she was rather excited about helping me transition. But turned out that the insurance there was not going to pay one dime of it. And
yeah, I can't see a list of who's all in the chat. I see Carol.
Well, Carol and Doc Fearsome are about the only ones who posted recently. Rodent, no last name, had posted one comment.
I'm curious as to how many women are in the chat, and because I'd like to grab some opinion.
I don't know if Kira is still with us. She was there earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust that participants list.
Check in their
participants list.
Yeah,
YouTube.
3 dot. That's next to where it says top chat or live chat. You click on that and it says participants.
I didn't even know about that.
I don't trust it though.
I never realized that was there. No, I was just going back and I was just looking at who had posted comments. Yeah, right now it says it's just Carol and Kira.
Yeah, it looks like it's based on the list of people who've posted in comments mostly.
Kira, well, I love your name. Kira is just such a pretty name.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's a limited number, but I'll ask anyways. One thing I've observed is, there's, of course, two sides to all of it. There's many cishet women, whether they're married to the trans person or not, who will find it abhorrent and want to leave, to never see the person again, all that kind of stuff, which of course leads to divorce and children if they're involved in things. But there's a lot of women that I run into who are very excited about helping. I'm not going to read into it, that it's a turn on for them or anything like that, because I just don't know. But I'm just wondering if you've ever found that to be true in people that you've talked with, and if so, what did it seem to revolve around, and that kind of thing. Just information about it. It's a curiosity to me. So I'm just wondering. It was like I went through it when I recently, when I came out to my high school reunion people, that the guys who were at the reunion were, oh yeah, okay, hi, and were nice and courteous and stuff like that. But a lot of the women were positively giddy about the idea, and it's like, okay, why is that?
Yeah, well, and I have to give Sloth Girl credit, that she's been trying to help me as much as she can. Although, she's not like really a typical woman either. So it's like she can't help me with the makeup because she doesn't wear makeup. But my ex that I knew that I was raising kids with back in the 90s and the aughts, she never understood it. She never took it seriously. She always thought it was just some kind of a fetish.
Well, Carol, what you say you'd be one of the excited ones. Why? Okay, I get it. I find myself, the deeper and longer I've gone into this and stuff that, it's 40 years now, that I find myself excited to help somebody who's transitioning, to help get them going and teach them what I know to avoid the pitfalls and stuff, especially when you're new to it and stuff. So I have a little bit of the idea. Oh, I didn't know you were trans, Kara. What flavor?
Tutti Frutti?
That's stereotypic.
Okay. Okay, mint.
You okay?
Yeah.
Speaking of stereotype, one argument I keep running into on Twitter from people who are anti-trans or aren't you just pushing in gender stereotypes?
I'm sorry, could you rephrase that? I wasn't paying close attention.
Something I've been running into on Twitter or from people who are anti-trans is they're saying, dressing like a woman, and isn't that just pushing stereotypes of what a woman is, what a man is, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they actually care, but go ahead.
That's one of the things that I find really difficult to try to explain to people. It seems me, especially as a binary, well, mostly binary woman, that my interest is to live the stereotype, to be the stereotype, because that's what I knew growing up, but that was the 50s and 60s. It's kind of like, well, of course that's what you believe in. And today there's a lot more folks that are self-proclaimed NBs who don't seem to think the accoutrements of whichever direction you're going are that important, that the gender identity is something beyond the accoutrements. But then I go, well, if the accoutrements don't matter, then why are you doing it? Or why are you displaying in public or want public recognition for something that doesn't show, that nobody can tell, that doesn't change how people interact with you, because they don't have a stereotype to fall back to.
Yeah, well, see, for me, that's the key word there is interact. That, for me, the biggest thing about transitioning is that because of the way most people view gender roles, I would rather that people who don't know me assume female rather than assume male.
And Carol, I always wear dresses or skirts. The only thing close to pants I own are leggings, and those are for winter.
I like skirts, but I've also got just several pairs of jeans.
I see. I'm a real proponent that men should feel free to wear skirts or dresses because they are so goddamn comfortable,
especially in the summer. Yes.
Yeah. That I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. In other cultures, tell me what the difference is between a dress and a caftan.
Mm-hmm.
Or African, tell me the difference between a dress and a boo-boo that you'd find it.
And actually, if it was one or the other, it would make more sense for the men to be wearing the dresses. To not have the tackle all crowded and cramped in there, and the whole issue about sweaty balls.
Sweaty.
Yeah, just it would be so much better for men in the summer to wear skirts, let the stuff hang free, let it get aired out.
I like these little memes that people put up on Twitter, where there'll be photographs of a perfectly lovely woman, and facial features and wardrobe, and the person posting it will just write, men, why don't you look like this? It's just, you can just see all these incel and hyper macho guys just cringing at that, getting pissed at that.
My response to the whole thing was we have a concept of what a male is and what a female is, and someone who say a trans woman is going to have that concept in their head and want to be that concept. It's basically how I explained it, at least to the best of my knowledge. I mean, does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah. Well, and it's not really even something I do intentionally. It's something that my fiance had pointed out many times that, before I was transitioning, she was just saying that I already had a lot of feminine mannerisms. And I did have a lot of people, in the stores and that calling me ma'am, and like even when I had a full beard, if they didn't see my face right off, they'd call me ma'am. And she said that it was mostly just the way I carried myself. So I guess I just always kind of gave off that feminine vibe.
Interesting.
Which also, at nearly every point in my life, my best friend has usually been a lesbian. Sloth Girl being the notable exception. And that's, my fiance actually was a lesbian. Me living with her did not change her being a lesbian. And she just said that it was because I did not display the attitudes and mannerisms that she normally associated with men.
Kira, I love hoodies too. Have you ever seen those hoodies that they're not fleece material? They're made out of a very rough cotton weave. They come out of Mexico, and they all have that front pocket in the front. They're all closed hoodies. There are no zipper hoodies. Often when you buy them, the arms are longer than they should be, and so they hang over your fingertips unless you roll up the cuffs. It comes in all kinds of different patterns and things like that. Have you ever seen those? If you have seen them and not used them, try them. I'm try one. They're wonderful.
Yeah. I wouldn't do well. I don't do well with any coarse fabrics against my skin. I don't know. Maybe some people would consider denim kind of rough, but I like denim. But that the common thing that women complain about, which I agree, is that women's clothes don't have functional pockets. And that is bullshit. And I am declaring that, for next year's fashions, everything has to include a kangaroo pouch. You gotta have a big enough pocket to put your cell phone in at least.
You get used to the no pockets thing. Eventually, you learn different strategies to deal with having the stuff on hand that you need to.
Yeah, especially with the phones getting bigger. In fact, the phone I got, I actually had to get an extra pouch to wear my belt.
Well, it's a lot easier now because, once that I'm wearing a jacket every time I went out, now I've got some extra pockets in the jacket.
Kara, my brother and sister-in-law go down to McAllen, Texas every winter, which is just a quick border hop to Mexico. And they usually bring me back one of those every season when they come home.
Yeah. Carol was asking if I always felt trans. And, well, when I was growing up, I had never heard of such a thing. Actually, I was in my 30s before I ever met anyone who was trans. So it's like, if I had realized it was an option when I was a teenager, it would have made things way different for me. Because even when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, and they were doing the thing about asking us what we wanted to be when we grew up, I liked the idea of being the housewife and, having my partner go to the office and work to pay the bills.
Yeah, I've said I'd be fine as a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, but in the early 70s, a boy saying that was like, just, they were sure something was wrong with me.
Hi, Robert X. I haven't seen you in a while. Nice
And
to see you again.
Oh, hi, Robert. And that's like why growing up, one of my favorite shows was The Courtship of Eddie's Father. That was my role model, was a man who was raising his child alone.
I always had a crush on Bill Bixby.
So did I.
All the way back to his the Martian, that Martian show. What was the title of it again?
My Favorite Martian.
Yeah, My Favorite Martian. Yep. I also developed a crush on Ray Walston then too. I thought he was pretty cool.
Well, I know mainly my crush on him came from The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Because I remember watching that a lot, and that must have been like before I was 5 years old, because it's like before I was going to school, but I was the only one at home because all of my siblings had gone to school.
I spent my entire life denying that I had any feelings for men, and but I admitted to having recognizing certain men in my life, celebrities we're talking about mostly, that I found to be I would not use the word attractive back then, but that I thought were special and that they appealed to me, that I'd like to have them as a friend or hang around with them and stuff like that. And it's only been in the last since my retirement and which is kind of the starting point of me taking my transition seriously finally, that I've realized that those were just not admiring, those were absolute crushes to death on all these men, like James Garner from Maverick and Steve McQueen, and guys that I just thought were so totally cool. I was actually crushing on.
Yeah, James Garner was another one. What was it? Oh, yeah. What was the show when he was a detective?
Oh, Rockford.
Yeah, Files. Rockford Files. That's the one I was thinking of. Yep. Yeah, I love that one, and a number of the movies he was in. Support Your Local Sheriff is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yeah, he did a series of those. There were like 3 of them, I think. 2 for sure, maybe 3. I forget.
Yeah.
I only know the stuff from reruns. It was all before my time.
Well, you know, a lot of these shows were, you know, I was only watching when they were in syndication too. So, you know, I
Well,
mean, the shows that go back to the 60s, they were running in reruns when I was home.
Oh man, I feel old. I watched them when they were brand new. I always liked Little Joe, from Bonanza, and I also really liked Haas. Yes, I had a crush on Haas.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and I do the same, Carol. There's absolutely female celebrities out there, actors, and whatever kind of TV personnel or writers, and their faces are known and names are known that I crush on too. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
it was just shocking to me when I made that revolution in myself that, hey, you, wake up. Come on, we know you're in there. Pay attention to what you're doing here. Be honest with yourself.
well, since I don't watch TV anymore, I have to crush on people on YouTube. So it's probably better if I don't mention any names.
Adam who? Adam West, Batman?
Yeah, which Adam? Well, he didn't have the last name, so he was the first one, right?
That's what I was just thinking.
Definitely had to see that in reruns. I'm sure that none of us are old enough to remember that one.
Which one?
The first Adam.
Oh, well, no, not personally.
No, I mean,
mythology.
Well, I'm not 6,000 years old. I mean, I'm not even 400 yet.
She's not telling us which Adam. Oh, handsome. Well.
Oh, on Bonanza, the third row.
Oh, yeah. Robert Purnell.
Yeah.
The one who went bald.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the actor's name. I'm absolutely lousy with celebrities' names.
Yeah, he was pretty cool too.
It's interesting that, well, I've never been straight. I've always been poly, or at least, I started out at bisexual before I even knew anything about it. But while I've always been interested in both men and women, I've had very different types of relationships with men than with women. Just so because of that, a completely different type of person's appealing to me in that. And, for the most part with men, it's generally just been physical. It has been very rare for me to have any emotional attachment with men.
You're pretty funny, Doc. The original existential crisis. I always thought John Kennedy was pretty handsome, and his brother Bobby.
Yeah, again, those are things I only vaguely remember because they were happening when I was growing up, but I was too young at the time to really understand even who they were then. Yeah, they always ask about that, what's like the first historical event you remember? And the first thing that I can actually remember was the moon landing. That was just such a tremendous deal. Well, that was when I was 5 years old. Actually, that was the day after I turned 5. Was the first man landing on the moon. And I've never been good with people. Of course, going back to when I was 5, it wasn't until I was like 10 or 11 that they finally realized I needed glasses, but I'd probably needed them all my life. So, up until that point, I didn't recognize people's faces at all because everybody was out of focus.
I'll never forget when the first time I got glasses. It was 5th grade, and got the appointment, blah blah blah, and sized up for glasses. 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, they were done. I think they can do them in an hour now. Anyways, and I got them on, and it was when I got outside, I was just like in awe of what I was seeing. I couldn't believe there was so many things that I'd never seen before. The big one that I really remember was that, of course I knew there were leaves, but I could actually see the leaves on the tree.
Yeah. I remember that too. Like I said, it's like 10 or 11 when I got my first glasses. And I remember just on the ride home that I was astonished that it was possible to read the street signs without getting out of the car.
Yeah. Hey, Carol, how old are you? 2 months married when you watched the... I'm assuming we're talking the original Apollo 11.
Yeah, Carol, I didn't actually realize you were really any older than I was.
Because I was... oh, really? Okay. So you're only 4 years on me.
Okay. Well, it's 13 years on me.
3 years. I just hit 68.
Yeah, you had said that you campaigned for Kennedy in a mock school election. And I remember when I was in 3rd grade that I was campaigning for Jimmy Carter.
We had a mock election in I always forget what year it was. I think 9th grade, I believe, when Robert Kennedy was running, and right in the middle of the school project, he was killed.
Ooh.
And it was, we dropped the whole project and instantly and stuff. But that was so traumatic. I cried my eyes out. I believed in him so much. I'm still not over it. I know that for sure.
Yeah, Robert's got a couple of years on me. Yeah, I knew Stephanie was about 10 years older than I was.
We should put together a YouTube channel for old people who are not old in the head.
Yeah. Well, I had floated the idea before about like doing a regular YouTube chat for the old folks, since it seemed that most of the time I was, working with people who were half my age.
Well, I think that would be worth doing. Think about that, Carol. I don't know that I could do it alone because I'm certainly not a gerontologist for any kind of background. So I would kind of feel uncomfortable trying to do that alone, that I have any knowledge about it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I just do these casual chats, because I don't claim that I, can be an authority on any subject.
Well, I know enough to know I know nothing.
Yeah, well, you have one subject at least that you know about. You understand about gardening and how to make things grow.
Well,
Pretty good with animals too.
Yeah, I'm so scattergun with so many different interests that I've never really, never gotten into depth on any one subject.
don't you just rub it a bunch and it grows by itself?
It used to,
I
but the
heard that chuckle.
lactate's been fixing that.
Who's James? Your hubs?
Okay, we've insulted Robert X. Yeah, well, Robert, we were talking about that earlier. And I actually do believe that I've got a better than average chance of surviving past 100 at this point.
Robert, I'm not talking about how you feel, but physically. I mean, we get old and we start to hurt and fall apart and all that kind of shit, and that's how we get judged by society, and especially by young people. Is, well, they're an old fart, oh, boomer, and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of us who are just as bright and quick and level headed in our values as we were in the 60s and 70s. And that's what makes us different. There's the people who are our age and not into real life. I'm trying not to use the word hip, but are not contemporary in culture, and popular experience. They're not on YouTube. They're not on Twitter. Okay, and I think we get spoiled because we meet a lot of people who are just like ourselves, that we're old, but we're not at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that audience is worth addressing ourselves to, because our age has so much influence, or so many things influence our age. At the same time, it goes both ways. That I just think it would be interesting. I don't want to spend something talking about geriatrics and healthcare and, oh, my knees hurt kind of stuff. But how has our politics changed from communism to socialism to whatever? What do we think about owning property now that we've done it, versus should we have done it? And how valuable was college for you over in the long run? Yeah, maybe you made more money, but how was it for you in the head? What did it do with you or to you? That kind of junk. PRWO, I don't know what that is.
But, that's me. Purple rhymes with orange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Purwall. So you're Purwall. I like that. Purwall.
Yeah, it doesn't quite flow right. Okay, yeah, Carol, I haven't heard of James Apperson. Do you have a link for his channel? You're a moderator on here, aren't you? Yeah, you've got a wrench. So if you have a link for his channel, you could drop a link in the side chat.
That's another thing that I'd like to do, Carol. I would like to have an all trans all the time channel, because there's just so much to cover, and how it changes for your age. It changes for number of years you're in transition. It changes for your culture that you're in, your religion that you're in. Everything is affected by it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets talked about a lot on a variety of shows, but if you're doing something consistently, you could have like 2-3 days in a row where you're talking about the same subject, and picking up where we left off and that sort of thing. And having stuff dovetail off of other subjects to, make the subject matter a flow more than today we're going to talk about apples, tomorrow we're going to talk about horses, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Robert X, I have trouble dealing with anyone who claims they're normal.
Why would you want to be normal? It's so much more entertaining to be weird.
Maybe Carol, maybe not. I think that there's some cis people who would be perfectly well suited to who get into that, who are enough of an ally and have taken time to educate themselves enough that they can be accurate in reporting or observing and integrating concepts and things like that. Yeah, trans person. There's a lot of trans people who are not suitable for that. You gotta have the ability to be on camera and to be ready to perform. I mean, that's even if you're in news, it's still a performance. And people may be knowledgeable in trans and are trans themselves, but that doesn't mean that they're good for having on a show. As a host, I'm thinking as a guest, maybe that's different, but as a host, it takes a special kind of person.
Yeah, I suck at hosting. You can tell by things like that, when the conversation goes dead, I just don't know what to do.
Purple Rhymes with Orange is about one of my most favorite internet names.
Well, I'm proud of that. Like I said, I spent about 3 months picking the name before I created the channel.
You definitely did a good job on that one.
Well, and it is something that Sloth Girl gave me at first, so credit to her too, because it's something that she kept saying off the cuff when we were gaming.
I also think that Titan Uranus is just a great internet name.
Dixon Cider.
Yeah.
I think one of the best ones is alias fake name.
Yeah, I like that too. One of my favorites I ran into, I forget where it was. Was it in this group? But the name was Diarrhea Runs in the Family. It's just it's like it just
Well,
silly
it
name.
does run in your genes.
Well, yeah, or your panties or whatever you're wearing. If you lose control, it runs. That's what it's called, the runs.
Get back. I was trying to look that guy up and not finding him under Carol's. What was it? James Apperson?
Mm-hmm. I keep reading the name to try to remember to lock it in.
Yeah.
James Apperson.
Well, I was hoping I could find a link.
That's even maybe a suitable name too, Carol. All trans all the time. I wonder if there'll be enough in that to make it a daily show over an extended period.
Okay, Carol, is this the guy? The channel name is Fleabeard.
Kira, nice to see you again. You go home. You go to sleep well now.
Okay. Good night, Kira. Yeah, well, actually, Robert, part of it was that I required a long name for YouTube because all the short ones are already taken. But the trick was to find something that wasn't taken that people would know how to spell so they could actually look it up.
I always had trouble with rhymes. It was one of those words that I just had trouble spelling all my life.
Okay, well, this was the first James Apperson that came up. And well, just from looking at the titles, I can see that he's apparently atheist.
Best name ever. Yeah, I like that one too. We on our race car, everybody's got the they were called Boulder Tints because that's the company who made them. The words across the top, the top quarter of the windshield, a sponsor's name or something like that. We didn't have a sponsor, so we just did your name here. Fairly adolescent, but people liked it.
Sounds fun.
Boy, there's this guy on Dr. Phil by the name of, well, I won't say it out loud. It may be somebody's dead name. Anti-theist. I don't understand. And this is definitely, I won't say bigotry because it's not a question of like or dislike. It's a question of understanding. I don't understand how any trans people can be religious after what so many religious angles attack us and want to destroy us. I just can't be associated with them.
Yeah, I really find that for anyone in the queer community that I've asked a lot of gay people about that it just seems really hard to be Christian and be LGBTQ of any variety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, YouTube comes up with 3 channels under the name of James Apperson. And this guy under the name of Fleabeard is the only one who I see anything indicating that he's atheist. So I am assuming that this is the one Carol's referring to. So I will drop a link for this in the side chat so anybody else who wants to can check it out. Oh, come on. If my trackball will keep working. I hope I don't have to replace the trackball again. It was such a pain to find one last time. But that was during the pandemic when we were out of all sorts of things. Okay, Jenny, can you see that? I put it in the private chat, so. Actually, Jenny, I can drop the link to you on Twitter so that you can go look at it later. Beep, beep. Where is Jenny in my Twitter stuff? Oh. I've had a couple of ideas for channels or shows, and I guess I don't seem to be a great one for motivating people either. Because I talk about it and I'll get a handful of people who say, hey, yeah, that's a really good idea, but then nothing ever comes of it. So I don't know how to get it beyond that stage.
Yeah, a few ideas for channels before I started the gardening thing. One I was thinking about maybe getting into talking about pop culture and sort of integrate that and sort of do sort of along lines of what was on the Nerdist for a while. That one guy was doing. What was the name again? Damn it, I can't remember.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of channels like that.
That do science communication along with it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've got so many different interests that, again, that was part of the thing with choosing my name, is I didn't want a name that would limit me to any particular subject or, prevent me from just covering whatever subject, because I know the way I am, and what I'm interested in now may have no connection with what I'm interested in 3 months from now.
Oh, it was the because science. It's channel. So sort of like what I had in mind for that would be one part or pop culture review, one part or science communication.
Carol, doing links is easy. All you do is type out the structure like Perp has on that Apperson one. HTTPS semicolon / www dot, and anything you put after that is going to be the link. But the HTTPS and the www is necessary because that's the trigger for another app to recognize that this is going to be a URL. And so it highlights it and turns it into a link, clickable link.
Okay, yeah, and if you said he has 101 subs, then yeah, that is the channel I was looking at. Per back.
So Doc, how you doing? We haven't seen you in a long time. You at work tonight? Yeah, it's really easy, Carol. Some things, like YouTube, you can't put up a link unless you're a moderator. But on Twitter, anybody can put up a link as long as you format it correctly.
Yeah, and the side chat's here, but I made you a moderator on here quite a while ago. If you've got that wrench, that means you're a moderator on this channel. If there's the wrench after your name. Oh. Okay, well, as my name said, I was exhausted when I started this, so maybe this is a good time to wrap things up.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Oh, so Mage, you said you're taking the rest of the month off, so you won't be having anything new on your channel?
Yeah, until the end of the month. I'll
okay.
Do a little preview here. I've been working on a video for almost since the beginning of the channel. It's on. I did okra from start right to the dinner plate.
Oh, and that got wiped out?
Nope, I managed to get just enough footage to finish it.
Oh, good.
I just need to put it together at some point.
Well, Carol, I'm glad we got to know each other a little better here tonight. We'll have to hook up sometime.
Oh, well, and Carol, you're welcome to come in on the panel anytime. And if you're not already in one of the Twitter groups that I've been sending the links to, just let me know and I'll, send you a personal link.
The only thing I can't do with that video is I wanted to get a measure of how tall the okra was, which I can't do now because of the whole storm thing. So it's not going to give me an accurate measurement.
You know, you want a good gag for that. I don't know how you've been measuring them, but I assume you have like a yardstick and you put it next to the plant and say, "Oh, it's this tall now."
I just take a tape measure and put it to it.
Okay, whatever. Make your own yardstick so that because it's going to have to be disposable, and you have it next to the plant, except the top of it is all crunched up and damaged, just like the plant. Oh no, we need this one to be accurate. You know,
I was thinking just, if you got some of the plants that got flattened and you're just taking the measurement of it, and it's like, yeah, last time we checked this was 19 inches and today it's 1 inch.
Yeah, just about. I got a few.
Somebody blocked that 69mega.com.
Yep.
He's
Yep, I was writing the report on him.
Yeah, I did have some a little bit more humorous one of little short clip hips. I was gonna put together random stuff, like how to pick up a watering can, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've got to get to work on doing a couple of edited videos because I have a couple, things that are holiday themed. So I really should put them out during November, just so that people get to see them before they're separating their, Christmas or Hanukkah or Yule or whatever it is they celebrate.
Good job, Robert. Now, don't any of you steal my idea. But I've been starting to do some outlining and a few essays so far that I want to put together and become one of those books that everybody knows about nowadays. Being transgender for dummies.
Well, yeah, it's certainly a book that I would have bought.
Well, I can assure you, I cannot steal that idea from you.
Okay, well, with that, as I say, we will wrap it up for tonight. So appreciate you being here. Jenny, if you didn't want to run a channel, but you just wanted to host a show, you'd be more than welcome. I could give you the password to my StreamYards and you could run it through my channel. I'd be fine with that.
Well, that might be something that we can work on, and you could teach me a little about, see if I can do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm certain you can do it. It's just a question of whether or not you can do it through your phone.
Yep.
So, okay, we'll talk about that more later. So, but, would like to thank everybody who's been supporting me, and especially, tonight I appreciate Robert X and Doc Fearsome for swatting the bots for us.
Bot swat.
Yep. And everybody who's been donating to me. Skits Crasher, Kitty the Atheist, Robert X, the Lavender Lady, Greg Hartwick, Dog, and Vonrek. I appreciate you helping me pay the internet bill because, I had just called today and will be having to do a bit of an upgrade on my internet just for having multiple computers going here now. And of course, just want to thank you guys, Mage and Jenny, for, just being here and keeping the conversation going with me every week.
Yeah, sure.
So with that, we will bid you all a good night.
Night.
Good night, chat. We love you. We do it because of you.